Congratulations, Wales. Top of the pool in the quarterfinals, probably Argentina, maybe Japan ahead, and you can feel very, very good about yourselves and very confident. Let me talk about that win over Georgia to round off their efforts in Pool C. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers, and welcome to the Super Budget Hotel, which I'm crashing in tonight in Paris, because I'm here for Scotland, Ireland, and I'll be there at the stadium later. England, Samoa in a little bit as well. I'm going to get myself to the stadium and go and watch that game there. But right now, let's talk about Wales. If you appreciate the content on the channel, please hit subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. That really helps. And tell me what you think about Wales, because that is... Well, there were moments where it was a little bit dicey. And I think you've got to credit Georgia for that. But really, the big takeaway for me is how different that was night and day from the Wales team that lost just under a year ago to Georgia in Cardiff in what was one of the low points. And where Wales are now, when you remember where they were then, is phenomenal. Because whilst at one point it was close, it was 24-19 in the second half, Wales didn't panic, looked in control, and they look a very mature, streetwise rugby team, and very tight-knit as well. So I think we've got to remember where Wales were a year ago to appreciate where they are now. And I certainly do. Closer than Wales would have liked. They pulled away in the end and had enough class. But rather than looking at that from a negative from a Wales perspective, let me flip that into a positive from a Georgian perspective. Italy's performances over the last week, bearing in mind they've had 20-odd years of all of the trappings that come with being a Six Nations nation, and they have been abject and embarrassing, and I'm sure that fact would not have been lost on Georgia, who are quite upset about how they're treated relatively and the lack of the sort of ceiling that they feel they're hitting because they're not being allowed into the club. So I'm sure that would have been part of the conversation, and they would have wanted to go out and make a statement. Not quite the one they hoped to make, and it's been overall a disappointing World Cup for them, but they showed a bit of something, didn't they? But ultimately, hey, newsflash for you, being really quick is quite good, and getting the ball to someone who's really fast in space is quite a good tactic for rugby. Maybe some coaches might want to consider that. Looking at you, Steve Borthwick. Lewis Rees-Zammit, my goodness, he's ridiculous. The number, do you know what I mean when I say he looks like he's jogging? Like he's clearly zooming past everyone else, like he's got that invincibility mode on Sonic the Hedgehog, just flying past everyone. He just looks like he's chilling out on a little Sunday jog. He's a freak. And he's obviously got Jedi mind powers as well, because the way he made that second try ball bounce back towards him, I mean, either that or there's a magnet inside the ball, and another one Lewis Rees-Zammit's got in his hands. It's, he's quite something, isn't he? But lots of performances to talk about. But it wasn't only Lewis Rees-Zammit that was really quick. It was the national anthem of Wales was super fast as well. I was at the Wales-Australia game. I was at the Wales-Portugal game as well. And, you know, even as an Englishman, I always look forward to hearing the Welsh national anthem because it's so good. And they've had 4 weeks now and it's still getting butchered. This needs to get sorted out. Almost more than patching up Gareth Anscombe, getting Dan Biggar fine, or any other injuries they've got to work out. More important, get the anthem sorted, because that is not good enough. That was dreadful. It was like Alvin, Simon and Theodore, the Chipmunks, were doing the national anthem for Wales. Not good enough. And Wales also need no more injured players, don't they? I don't know because I'm watching on French TV, I don't know what was being said or what is being said about Gareth Anscombe. I hope that's not serious, because the drop-off from Biggar and Anscombe to Costello is big, isn't it? Now, Sam Costello is going to be a good player in the future, but international rugby, you get that little bit less time. The margins for error are that little bit smaller. The consequences of not being quite accurate enough are much, much bigger. Just ask the guy from Georgia that threw that pass that ended up in Lewis Rees-Zammit's hands as he gassed it down the wing. And yeah, Sam Costello is not where Wales need him to be. And that is one concern looking ahead to a quarter-final. But what you can say about them is they are just a tough team. Tough. And even when they're not playing well, They just kind of make themselves really hard to beat. That Warren Gatland mantra, be the best at the things that require no skill. Have a really high work rate, be really fit, smash everything in front of you, and that's a decent start. And the other thing Wales have got going for them, a beautiful kit. I love their World Cup stash. It's lovely. No, the second kit, not so much. The first kit, the red jersey, is a beaut. They so they had periods where it wasn't going to plan for them, and Georgia were putting them under the pump. That sort of 10-minute spell before half time, Georgia were really piling on the pressure, and they just kind of soaked it up. Didn't look great. You can imagine Warren Gatland might have given them a bit of a word at half time. They hit Georgia on the break with that raw gas from Lewis Rees-Zammit. Was there a forward pass on his second try? In the build-up to his second try, was that a forward pass? Wasn't even checked, I don't believe. And look, it didn't matter today. Wouldn't have affected the result. But when I put that together with the Simone Ferrari disallowed try last night for Italy that I talked about on the video last night, go and see that. It's in the channel as well. And I worry for what the consequences might be for a quarter-final, semi-final, if there are decisions which have you raising your eyebrow. Now, I guess, maybe it's just because the bunkers come in, I'm saying things like this, but because actually that's always been the case. But anyway, looked a hint of forward to me. Georgia worked their absolute nuts off, didn't they? Their number 7 was Saginadze, sorry. What a tough ball carrier he is. Loved him. And Niniashvili is such a good young player. Niniashvili on the left wing for Georgia. Lewis Rees-Zammit on the right wing for Wales. That would make quite a nice combo at club level. Maybe they'll end up playing in the same team in France or something one day. I would love to see it. Although Rio Dyer, do you know what? He's got a Johnny May quality. And I'm using an England reference. You know, England, I'm an Englishman. But Johnny May always looks like someone who, he's like a dog out in the park, just happy to be chasing balls. And that's what Rio Dyer looks like. He just runs non-stop after kicked balls, which I quite appreciate the effort, if nothing else. And in the back three with them, a touch of class today, Liam Williams. He's brushed off any suggestion that he's on the decline and on the way down. He's been brilliant for Wales lately. So good today. Even managed to get involved in a fight when he'd already been replaced. Peak Liam Williams. If there's a fight going on, he'll be in it. Well, he is such a hard guy, isn't he? Even like loads of massive, hairy Georgians, he's like, yeah, I'll get stuck in. So, they came through that moment when Niniashvili scored and they were just 5 points up, stretched out to a comfortable win in the end. And I think they can feel very good about themselves going into Argentina. And already, I think Wales have probably, exceeded expectations. That might be over the top. They've met the expectations at this point already. I think anything here from Wales, bearing in mind where they were as a bonus. And one thing, I think I mentioned this on a previous video. I was there at the Wales-Australia game in Lyon. The tightness of that group of men after the match, you could just feel it. The way that they talk to each other, the way that they are with each other. I don't know, there's just something about the group. You can tell they're in a really, really good place. And if you've played in a rugby team, you know that those bonds, for all the talent in the world, those bonds and those relationships, when you're really in a tough spot, they can dig you out of it and help you get that extra 1 or 2%. So that's part of the reason why Wales are such a hard team to beat, and they're going to be for whoever comes up against them. Fair play, Wales. Well done. I'm going to go and get myself settled in so I can watch the England game and see if they can do that thing where you get the ball to the man on the wing who's really quick and see if he can score. Let's see if they can score some tries as well. Nice one. Thank you very much. Hit subscribe, leave your comments, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one.